I did feel paralyzed and freeze totally in every time in the most important moments of my career. And I gave the example of this match in Dubai against Kornikova on center courts when she was at the best of her level. And suddenly I realized I was going to win. I could see the stadium full packed and all the journalists coming because it was the end of the match to come to interview. And I realized that, and suddenly the racket was weighing maybe 300 kilos instead of 100 grams. So that moment, I had no idea what was happening in me, but I totally froze. To get to the root of that, it's coming from the trauma that I had with this sexual abuse at a very, very young age. I think I did associate at that time, the first time where the sexual abuse happened to me, I was 12. There was no internet, no nothing. I had no idea what was happening whatsoever. And I froze because that's what happened when there is a trauma. At that time, I left for France at 12 years old by myself in order to become a performer, a professional tennis player, a champion. So that's what the mind does, unconsciously, of course. I totally associated performing at a high level or achieving big things to abuse, which was for me danger of death, pretty much, because it was the most painful thing that ever happened to me. And so every time I was very close to achieving something even bigger and bigger, I froze. The reason why I'm talking about it now, and I am 46, and this happened about 35 years ago, is very simple. I do believe, I trust that I did overcome this trauma fully about a year and a half ago only. If you give an image, I was maybe overcoming it at like 70%, but there was still this 30% that are the deepest level and the most complex one. And I met this therapist, this professional that is extremely good and had a different method, even though I tried every single method in the world before that, I think. And I did pretty well so far. But then his method was absolutely magical. And at that time, I had this big realization where I knew that this was my purpose. And I told him, listen, this is a method that we need to share in order to help prevent abuse and in order to help people who are abused to heal. Because most of the times, the healing is superficial or does not happen on the deepest level completely. So I decided to create a company with this professional to share this method and to help preventing abuse in sport institutions specifically, and also to help overcome people who got abused to get out of it. So I opened this company that's called Unus Mundus for All, One World for All. And it's a company to help on the collective level. So if I want to help on the collective level, I also need to share my story on a collective level, because I believe in leading by example. I don't think that giving advice will help a lot. I think it's actions that actually help. It's not easy to go publicly about something like this. So this is an action that is more important than an advice. I don't believe in telling people what to do. I believe in showing and inspiring. Prevention is very important. Prevention program. What is prevention? There are many ways to prevent, but the best way to prevent, especially for kids, is to develop an even higher level of self-worth, of self-esteem, of self-confidence, of empowerment, and of course of liberation, of not taboos. I mean, so many people don't want to talk about these things in front of kids. Like, there are kids here around, don't talk about it. I tell them, well, you know what, when I was 12 and before that, I wish I had people talking to me about these things in front of me. So I actually know what it is. I would have understood what it was. So maybe I would have known what happened to me and could have reacted or behaved. For example, we grew up and being educated very often in a way where you tell what, don't answer this adult like this. You have to respect the authority figure that is older than you. And what does that say? So whenever there is an authority figure that comes and does something to you that you don't want to do, you have to be polite and say nothing. Yet educating him, of course, to be polite, but there is many ways to prevent, to empower. And for me, prevention comes from empowerment, from opening the mind, from don't letting the taboo be taboo, really, and go deep there and liberate most of these, limitations that we do have, in fact.